Conversation. Always stay gracious. Best revenge is your paper.
Colorism thing. We get into the hair. Oh, I like your hair. Oh, I like this. Oh, I like that. Guys, attracted to her for what they think she is. I've had young men who have liked her say, oh, I think she's Filipino or something. So things of that nature. But my daughter's very strong in who she is. She had a friend in college. This is her first year of college. And she had a friend in college who she called me up really upset about some boy at school down her friend for being a dark-skinned girl and calling her ugly and everything else. So my daughter checked him 1,000%. I had to rein her in and say, okay, I don't want you to get into any altercations at school, but I had to rein her in. So she is proud of who she is.
Yeah, I could agree with what you're saying as far as, the pitting. I noticed a lot of her African-American male peers like to make clear distinctions between her and her darker skinned girlfriends at school. And we find that to be a problem. How they would make comments and sort of like put my daughter on a pedestal and kind of ignore the other dark skinned friend. And of course there is a little friction between the dark skinned friend and my daughter. And I do try to, help her understand and how to actually deal with that, when she's at school dealing with, her peers and how the young men like to pit the two girls. I noticed that. I found that to be kind of interesting that they pit my lighter skinned daughter with the dark skinned friend. Yeah.
I can definitely agree with the person who say that white people view mixed people as black people, because I live in Germany and my daughter is definitely seen as black, even though she has both skin tone of a biracial person. But when we go back home in West Africa on holiday, we do go twice a year, then she's seen as as pretty and light skin, and everybody's like, oh my God, I love your hair. And dark skin daughters are just watching their mom like, what the fuck you saying, So it's very heartbreaking experience for me, because I've been through that as a child. I've had the sister of my mom busting into our house at 8 years old, giving me bleaching cream and saying, you have to bleach so you can find a husband. And I was like, okay, I'm not really looking for one right now, but thank you.
Wow.
Yeah, but I do try, even though my daughter is only 9 years old, I do try to talk to her about colorism, because for me it's very important for my daughter to be empathetic towards dark-skinned little girls. I see how disappointed they are in their parents when we go back home on holiday. Like, I would love for my daughter to have high self-esteem and be very confident with the positive affirmations and all that stuff. But the one place my daughter's confidence shouldn't come from is out of class of little girls who look like me, and a lot of.
Hey there. So what you are about to see is a little bit of a clip from Chrissy. I'm subscribed, or maybe I'm not subscribed, I don't know. But I'm watching a video, a posting from Chrissy, live panel, dark-skinned black mothers with biracial daughters speak out on colorism and erasure. And this conversation is like so deep, so complex, and for me very confusing, just because it's confusing and it's hard and it's tough, and I feel like it's difficult, and there is no right answer. There isn't a right answer, just because I just feel like different people have different experiences. Before this Chrissy lady, I watched like a video from a young woman. I think she was in her teens, and she had a video. It was like saying like, what am I? Am I light skin? Am I brown skin? And am I dark skin? And I consider myself to be brown skin, I suppose. Kind of caramel type, I suppose. If someone were to ask me, that's what I would say. The girl was she was more richly melanated than myself. I would say that she's dark skinned if I were to ask. But I was reading in the comments, and someone else said that that the lady that is more melanated than myself, they said that she was brown skinned, and I was confused because I'm like, well, if I am my shade and I say I'm dark skinned, I say I'm brown skinned, and the lady, the woman, the girl is, has more melanin than myself, I will call her dark skinned. But you see, so I don't feel like, just, it's my perspective. I'm based on like on a shade spectrum. If the lady commenting, she was even a deeper sexual, a deeper, richer color than her. So of course, if you get more deeper into the chocolate spectrum, then her perspective on the lady's color, I suppose, of course you would say she's brown if she's more darker. And of course, maybe in her, the lady's eyes, that was, more deeper than the both of us. Maybe I would be light skinned. Of course, I'm not light skinned, but if, she's comparison. So I don't know if you're understanding what I'm saying or not, but I feel like this is a thing of the 6 and the 9, to where there's somebody standing on the left side and they say, I see a 6, and the person is turned the other way, and on the right side, and they're saying, I'm seeing a 9. Just because what you see, you're correct, and what you're seeing doesn't make the other person wrong, because a 6 and a 9, depending on where you're standing, the perspective is different. So I'm not here to say, well, if I'm right, you have to be wrong. It's just a different perspective, if you can understand what I'm saying. And this conversation is kind of just getting started. It's only 30 minutes in. The ladies kind of just introduced themselves. 2 of the ladies decide to show themselves. The rest of them decide not to show themselves. And they just describe, where they're located, what they do for a living, or if they work for a living, or if they, are kept, or, stay-at-home moms, if they're single moms. And what's the breakdown of their daughter, if they're, even though it says with biracial daughters. So some of them have biracial daughters and some of them have, black daughters. So I am black. My mom is black, and from what I know of what my mom has said, my dad is black. He's missing in action, as a lot of black dudes are in their children's lives. But it's weird because I just feel like there's, in the black community, I don't know that other races do this thing of comparing. I don't know. The only thing I would say is probably like a size, like if you're fat or you're skinny, like, oh, you're big, or, oh, you're slim. And, there's a whole thing with that. But I think in the black community, there's like so many different layers to pick at one another. So it's the skinny and the fat thing. If you're too skinny, oh, you 6, you don't have any body. If you're too big, oh, you're fat, you eat too much. Then it's like a hair thing. So it's not just, oh, your hair is short, or you praise if your hair is long, but then it's the texture of it. Oh, is it a nice texture? Is it a good texture? I'm like, Lord Jesus. I have one child and I would never have another one, just because there are just so many elements to go through besides the color of your skin, if you're too light, if you're too dark, if you're brown, if you're not brown, if you're good, if you're not good. Like, oh my goodness, I cannot. I have a son. I don't have a daughter. I only have a son. And the colorism thing, I don't know how this works. I really don't know how it works. Because like with the racism, I know they say, that's learned behavior. It's taught at home. Okay, I am a single woman. I've been single most of my life. I've had a few relationships, but they were trash. They were all trash. I never been in a serious committed relationship to where I had helped along my journey. There was someone in my life, but no one has ever helped me raise my child that was a figure. There was no one that I would ever claim to have been a father figure for my son. I never had a father figure for my son. The gentleman that I was in relationship with, it's so weird because I never, like, my mind never even went. Only now do I date intentionally with what I want and what I can get and what's gonna benefit me. But other than that, I was dating people that was halfway decent towards me, and they were not necessarily good, but it was never like, oh, I only date light, or I only date this type of thing. Like, I do have a preference of height, but there's not even a whole lot of like tall guys going around. So it's so, I don't know. I just find it weird because my son, I don't know, girls, like, he is a mess and a half, and I don't know how or why. I don't understand. I don't know. Like, I think I think he's a colorist. I really do think he is. And I don't have any light people in my family that I know of. I'm sure there is somewhere down the line, but I'm not close with my family, so I don't know them. But the ones that I was around, my mom, we're like this kind of shade of brown. Like, we're like brown. My sister, she was maybe a hair or two lighter than myself, a little bit. But we're really brown. There's no light people around. There was no white people around, like, that I know immediately in my family. There was no light people around, no light or no white people around. So he must have learned that in school, I suppose. That's the only thing that I could attribute it to. Social media in school, just because there was never any kind of conversation about who's better. And, you know, I don't know. I don't know why he's like that, because he's dating somebody right now, and she's a white girl. He goes to a predominantly, or, well, he's not in school. He graduated school, but he went to predominantly Caucasian schools. Since we moved from the south to the south, we are from New York originally, so, you know, where we lived in Queens, New York, we lived in public housing. So, you know, that's mostly, you know, African American individuals. And then when I started to work at the hospital in Harlem, one of the nurses allowed me to use her address so I could, you know, get him into a school that was close to my work, which was convenient, you know, for me. But even in Harlem, you know, that those were, you know, predominantly African American students. So once we made the shift to move down to North Carolina, we have always lived in neighborhoods that, you know, that was the reverse. Whereas in New York, it was predominantly African American with a few others sprinkled in. When we moved down here, it's predominantly Caucasian with a few others sprinkled in. So that's how it was. So I just figured, you know, your proximity is the thing as well, because I would assume that if he was around more black students, then, you know, you just link up with who's next to you or who's close to you. So that preference thing, like, I've heard him say negative stuff, and I'm like, wow, because, like, you do know, like, I'm a whole black chick over here, like, what's wrong, like, what's good? And I don't know, like, I'm like up in the air. I don't feel strongly about anything just because, listen, I'm always gonna get my way. So I don't feel like woe is me about anything. And unfortunately, it's so weird too, just because I thought, in my mind, I thought I was grooming my child to be like GQ, like abundant, like cream of the crop, you know, educated, even if you don't want to go to school, like, you know, business, you know, make money, entrepreneur, you know, CEO, make moves. And he is turning out, he's 19 at the present moment. He's got a Caucasian girlfriend that he's on again, off again with. And I don't know what to do, but it's like one of these things, like, I just look at my own personal situation with my own child that I raised by myself, having these, you know, innuendos, these colorist innuendos of having preference for light or white women. I particularly don't care what he does, but I'm like, where did he get that from? Right? Because he didn't get that from me. But then his stature in life. So it's like one of those things also. It's unfortunate. And I can say this because this is my child, but he's a Dusty. As we speak right now, he's 19 years old. He is a Dusty. His mind is very low caliber. He's not doing well in life right now. Like, who's doing well in life? You're 19. It's just that, like, he's in trouble right now. He's in trouble, and it's like, if you're going to continue on this path, listen, I say let the light and the bright have because, like, who wants, like, low caliber, like, males? Like, they're not desirable anyway. And that's just my take on things. You know, he's in trouble right now. He's calling, all he do is take, or he do is need, or he do is, you know, and whenever my phone is ringing, it's because he needs something. So do I feel bad? From a motherly instinct and from a mom's standpoint, I do feel bad because I'm like, I wish you would do better. I really do wish you would do better. But time and time and time and time and time and time, and listen, this is a lot of times. Again, you know, I'm giving you space and opportunity, and all you do is fail me. You know, I can't keep giving you more string to mess me up, you know? So right now he's calling because he needs some help. And I am in position to help, but I won't just because he needs to learn his lesson. He needs to grow up. He needs to learn his lesson. And listen, when you treat folks bad and be rude and, you know, things just don't work out, I have to teach him a lesson. So that's that. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and comment down below. What are your thoughts on this? How do you feel? Like, where do you rate yourself? Not as far as looks, not a number, but skin tone. And did you understand what I was trying to explain as far as the shades? Like, different people have different perspective based on where they are at. So if I said I was light, people just like the light skin Keisha thing. Like light skin Keisha, she said she's light skinned, and I'm like, girl, you are brown skin as hell. Not that it's not bad, but you're not light. Like, when I see light, I'm thinking, if you watch YouTube, Aaliyah's face is light. If you watch Kyra, I'm Unique is light. Light skin Keisha is probably a shade or a couple shades lighter than me, but she's not, I wouldn't say she's light skinned. But then she described, she was like, oh, I got light skin Keisha from Belly, the Keisha on Belly. Now, Keisha on Belly, she is chocolate. So if you're going, because light skin Keisha, who the hell is Keisha? But if you're given the example of Keisha from Belly, the I don't know the real actress name, but the actor that portrayed Keisha in the movie Belly, if that Keisha is chocolate, then yeah, in comparison to her, you are light skinned. But just when you say light skin, I don't think most people think, you know, her, you know, brown skin is not light skin. In just the everyday, like Keisha, what you call it? Alicia Keys. You think Alicia Keys light skin, you know, you wouldn't say, you know, I'm not light skin, I'm brown skin, you know. So it's perspective, and that's why I mostly like to listen. Okay, listen to what people have to say. Don't just, oh, I want to talk. My opinion has to be heard. Okay, it can be heard, but listen, because once you listen, you'll get the person's perspective. And once they finish talking, you may say, okay, so now I see where you were coming from. Before, I got to talk. I got to be right. I hear what I got to say. Like, okay, you can be heard, but like, listen to what folks got to say. And I'm gonna get back to this panel because it's interesting. It's interesting. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe. Comment down below. Where do you say you are? Are you light skin? Are you brown skin? Are you deep skin? Are you chocolate? And it's all good. Like, it's all candy around here. Okay, you caramel. What you doing? What you giving? Okay, bye.